In the dead of night, under the cover of darkness, these men begin their mission.
4 cameras sitting right there.
So don't walk in front of that window.
I'm plugging in a wireless antenna so that I can start to snoop on their traffic.
Their target? This Minnesota security firm. More specifically, their computers, their data, the lifeblood of their business.
We just kicked the device off the Wi-Fi. Now we might be able to get a password.
Brian Halback and Jonathan Studebaker are cyber mercenaries. Hackers for hire.
3, 2, 1. And we got nothing.
Known as a red team, hired by private companies and governments to hack them before the bad guys ever get the chance.
The bad guys, they're getting more sophisticated. They're coming up with new ways, new tricks of their trade. And so businesses also have to react fast, and they have to think fast.
Our economy has suffered more than $350 million in ransomware payments this year.
We are in the midst of a cyber war, shocking our national security. Gas, food, hospitals, transportation, the very fabric of our society, now in the crosshairs of cyber terrorists.
We're not talking about people with conscience. We're talking about criminals who want to make money illegally.
We need to get an unlocked computer, which are all over the place.
And red teams are often the last line of defense. Laptops in place of guns, arming companies with the ammo they need to fight cyber invaders.
So fun thing, we can just turn off the antivirus.
Probing every single possible weakness they can find.
We have 11 minutes before we need to be off.
Got access to whatever their enterprise content management software is. We're cutting it down to the wire. 4 minutes left.
Ready to exit?
Copy.
Colonial Pipeline, the largest fuel conduit in the U.S. 100 million gallons a day, every day, from Houston to the New York harbor. 25 miles north of Atlanta, Colonial Pipeline employees discover they can no longer access critical data. Cyber criminals targeting their billing system, holding their network hostage in a brazen act of extortion.
This is the first time a major critical infrastructure stakeholder in the United States has been affected in the physical world versus the virtual domain.
It's called ransomware, and it's used as a weapon all over the world by underground cyber cartels, illegal hackers breaching into systems, cutting off access to crucial data, and demanding a king's fee to get it back.
There are 2 types of companies out there. Those that know that they've been hacked and those that don't yet know, but they've all been hacked.
In order to contain the breach, Colonial applies a tourniquet, shutting down more than 5,000 miles of pipeline. Within days, fuel shortages and panic at the pump.
Everywhere I go, it's bags over the gas pumps.
A state of emergency is declared in 17 states and Washington, D.C.
The sort of anxiety over not knowing when gas supplies would come back in a neighborhood or a city. These are all really tough, not only business decisions, but decisions that have cascading effects throughout the country.
2 days later, the FBI exposes a group of Eastern European cybercriminals believed to be behind the breach. They call themselves DarkSide.
So DarkSide is a ransomware group that is believed to be based largely in Russia. They develop malicious code that can then be used to deploy within a network and encrypt all the data, and then they supply all the infrastructure to facilitate ransom payments, negotiation with victims, and then they basically franchise it out to lots of different affiliates.
Within 3 days, Colonial announces they've restarted operations, but we would soon learn they paid a $4.4 million ransom in Bitcoin to the DarkSide hackers.
Today, we turned the tables on DarkSide.
More than half since recovered in a first-of-its-kind operation by an FBI ransomware task force created by the Biden administration.
I made the decision to pay, and I made the decision to keep the information about the payment as confidential as possible. It was the hardest decision I've made in my 39 years in the energy industry.
In the halls of Congress, Colonial Pipeline's chief executive pressured about that harrowing decision to pay the ransom, despite authorities urging him not to.
We do not support the payment of the ransomware, but at the same time, Pierre, we understand the challenge that a company faces.
Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, Biden's Homeland Security czar. He's a top dog in the war against cybercrime.
The FBI director recently said we need to rethink the way we are dealing with cybersecurity in the same way that we had to overhaul the way we thought about security after 9/11 for planes and transportation. Do you agree that we have to rethink it to that degree?
I do, and I'll summarize it in my own way as follows. It's not elective. It's not really a choice. Should I increase my cybersecurity at home, in my place of business, in my life, both for an individual, for a business? But I must. It's an imperative, because the vulnerability that one has, it creates a threat not only for oneself, but for many others with whom one is connected.
We have approach from the east on 8th Avenue.
And many private companies are already building up those defenses.
That's what they can see.
Paying big money to red teams, experts in hacking and offensive security, trained to think like the bad guys and to stay one step ahead.
How sophisticated are some of the world's best hackers?
The top of the top. Unfortunately, we're kind of at the point where if they want to get in, they're going to get in. And they're very persistent. Essentially, they can just keep attacking and attacking and attacking, and if it doesn't work one day, they can spend 3 weeks doing these advanced attacks until they get in. And eventually, they will find that weakness in the armor, get in.
Their work, not just cyber, but also focuses on the company's physical security.
Explain to people at home why the physical security of the building is important too, that hackers don't just sit thousands of miles away and try to infiltrate networks from afar, that there's sometimes some more traditional methods that they want to use as well.
I think that oftentimes we put a lot of faith in preventing people from getting in digitally. And so we'll have a firewall and we'll have antivirus and we've got all these security controls in place for the digital world. But in the office itself, they're usually maybe a little bit more lax.
This is the building right here. That's the primary objective of tonight, is get RTS on target. We need to get them to the servers.
Brian and John invite us inside their war room. Their teammate Andrew is an expert in getting into secure places.
We want to take the greatest strengths of our client system and see if we can turn it against itself.
The mission, reach 2 companies in 2 nights.
So essentially, we would do a man-in-the-middle attack.
This kind of access is rare. Both clients granted us permission to embed with the red team as they test the company's defense against cyber threats.
This is the code for the computer virus.
The plan, break into their buildings, get into their server rooms, implant a virus, and get out.
We brought USB sticks that have payloads on them, that if you see an unlocked computer, you can plug it in, detonate the payload.
No small feat, both companies are well protected.
The president put in an army of motion sensors and cameras. So this went from a really easy engagement to near impossible. Can we admit something that's going to fry these things?
Possibly, but I'm not sure how we can whip something up fast enough to do that tonight.
You ready?
This will be fun.
Yeah.
So pull into these spots right here.
The first client, Interium Incorporated, a commercial furniture supplier.
We are about to enter the site.
With no immediate networks to hack, the team looks to break into the building. They trudge through the thick woods to find a blind spot in the cameras.
Okay, we're all set.
The company knows they're here, catching them on video. But the point is to find all their weaknesses, so they carry on their mission.
I'm connecting into this 5-port switch they got right here. I'm gonna see if it gives me an internal IP address so I can get to their internal network. I need a chair.
The team carries USB sticks loaded with viruses. They hunt for unlocked computers. The goal? To inject a ransomware cocktail.
Just inserted one of our USB payloads. We are going to attempt to detonate now. I need to get an image of this because it's potential data access. Give me a shot. All right, we have a shell. This is a Trojan horse that we just detonated here. And essentially what it did is it called out to our server, and now we have remote command and control over the system.
Mission accomplished.
We can move on. That was a success, yeah.
If this were a real breach, the company's defenses were considerable, but the hackers brought their A game.
We got a successful payload delivered. I think we're good.
When we come back,
4 cameras sitting right there.
So don't walk in front of that window.
infrared cameras, alarms,
They put motion sensors all over the place.
a game of spy versus spy.
That's what I thought might happen.
I need camera off me for a minute while I enter passwords.
How far would these hackers go to get the job done? Stay with us.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.